Welcome back, live from the Melbourne Cricket Ground for State of Origin 2. This is just unbelievable. An Australian record rugby league crowd has gathered to see either Queensland shut down the series here in front of this great sporting crowd at this great sporting stadium, or will it be a case of New South Wales surviving and taking it to a tiebreak at Lang Park? They're here in their thousands, and probably a crowd in the area of 90,000 have jammed into the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Listen to them. Just fantastic scenes. I think the only thing that has come anywhere near this in my career as a commentator would be Wembley, the 1992 World Cup final. That was around 75,000. You can almost feel this crowd pulsating with expectation of something that is very special about to happen. Kate Sobrano will be out shortly. Unbelievable, Sterlo.
Gets the heart pumping, doesn't it, Ray? We heard over the last 7 days how many pre-sold tickets there were. Heard figures of 65, 70. In the back of my mind, I thought, well, I'll believe that when I see it. Well, here's the evidence tonight.
Laurie Daly now, led out by the managers, Bob Saunders and Jeff Carr. 8th time he's captained the Blues. He's only 24. The Blues come from the famous dressing rooms and make that rather lonely walk out. We ride on the back of Glenn Lazarus, and so too do a lot of the hopes of New South Wales. They're in the walkway and they're out there. Listen to this crowd. Bradley Clyde is back. First time in that orange and jumper since 1992. The captain, Daly. Ben Elias, 18 appearances for the Blues. He's the oldest player in the team. And debutant Brett Mullins. I wonder what's going through his mind. Clyde plays his 11th tonight. Probably the best player in the world. Harrigan is pumped up. Smoke clearing following the fireworks display. Andrew Ettinghausen, the most capped of New South Wales players. He eclipsed Michael O'Connor back in Sydney.
As you mentioned Wembley, Ray, really the only players out there tonight who've experienced a crowd like this would have been those who were lucky enough to play at the 92 World Cup game at the Wembley Stadium. Only a couple out there, so it's a new experience for many, many of these players.
And here they come, the magnificent Maroons, many of them very, very tired. But that word would not be in their dictionary tonight. Mal Meninga, he equals the most Origin appearances of Wally Lewis right here tonight. And listen to the crowd welcome the men from the Sunshine State. Sherrod Walters back in Origin football for the first time since 1990. Gary Larson, now looked upon as a veteran of Origin football. There's Mal. What a record. He equals Wally tonight, 31 games. He was there in 1980. He's still there, the only survivor, 161 points. 8th game as captain for Mal Meninga. There's the tallest player in the game, Darren Fritz. Takes the place of Martin Bella. He'll take it up and he'll really feel that first tackle, because the big Blues, they'll be waiting for him, trying to take some of the wind out of his sails. Phil Gould, as always, looks composed. Won the series 2 years in a row, Phil Gould, but now they're walking the tightrope. coach of Queensland. Nobody got as much of a kick out of what happened in Sydney as, in the minds of many, the greatest of them all, the King, Wally Lewis. The team stand and face the Great Southern Stand. Over there, housed probably a crowd in the area of 50,000 people. As we pause now for the national anthem with Kate Sobrano.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty. On history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Kate Sobrano, the Australian national anthem. A great moment in sporting history here tonight. Rugby League comes to the Melbourne Cricket Ground. And the roar from the crowd is a streaker. Makes her way. Well, I think it's a she.
It is, Ray.
Belcher, you'd know.
It certainly is from here. Tradition here, isn't it?
I've never seen more people reach for binoculars at one time.
Graham Annesley is also a debutante. What a big moment for the young Sydney referee. His first. Dean plays first, and there's the start. The Melbourne Cricket Ground, the crowd goes up, they wait for the first tackle, and there it is. 10 metres away from the Queensland line. There's a breeze up there, but I don't know what sort of an effect it will have on this game. Playing down in this velodrome or Coliseum, first penalty goes to Queensland.
And that's the first thing the players out there must not let happen to them. The occasion overawe them. They can't let enthusiasm override their technique. First penalty going to Queensland, and straight away the pressure is off out of their danger area.
I've just noticed Laurie Daly there looking at his hand, checking it. May have hurt himself already this early stage.
Well, that would be a tragedy if Daly is already appealing for help. What a good tackle! Big tackle by the New South Wales front row forward Harrigan. Larson now, 42 metres out, and that's the scene as we look down on it. Played by Larson. Out from dummy half goes Kerrod Walters. He sensed that the New South Wales markers were slow getting up after making the tackle. They're on the halfway line now, and Langer keeps it low. And going across is Tim Brasher to bring it back from 10 metres out from his line. The chase was great from Queensland. Big Mel was down there. So was the kicker, Alfie Langer. Mullins gets his first taste of the Origin football. 20 metres out from their line. Stewart, face ball across for Daly, then for Ettinghausen. Almost to the 30-metre line.
And immediately New South Wales prepared to go wide as Andrew Ettinghausen has made a mistake in the play the ball area. Not happy with the decision. This will be a scrum feed to Queensland, only 30 metres out. ET trying to get up and play the ball quickly, and out she came.
Annesley wisely queried the touch judge. He didn't see it to get the right ruling, and I'm sure he got the right ruling. Langer appeals to Annesley to find him a tunnel. In and away now for Kevin Walters. Question mark on his fitness. 28 metres out from the line. A chance for Queensland to put first points on the board.
He's fired up Big Mal early. Plenty of criticism during the past week about his performance in the first game. We'll see a big one tonight from him.
Andrew G with a short pass for Darren Fritz. Fritz pulled down 20 metres out from the line. And that would be the third tackle on this set as Langer puts the ball across in front of Gilmeister for Billy Moore now. Moore is that close to the line. 18 metres out. Now for Langer. Langer running towards the Great Southern stand side of the ground for Andrew G to take the tackle and be put away by Dean Pay. Now with Langer, Elias came up quickly from marker. Langer put the ball high, and up they go, and down they come with it, the Blues. Great take of the football.
Yeah, Brett Mullins climbing high there. Tim Brasher went at the same time as Harrigan is forced back in some good defence. I'll be pretty pleased with that touch, Brett Mullins.
Lazarus now starts to grind his way out. 12 metres from his own line. Tremendous start for Queensland. Everything has gone their way in the opening seconds. Brad Clyde, well, he tried to squeeze a pass out. That was like an impossible dream.
We just can't afford in State of Origin to make mistakes at this end of the field. That's the second one from New South Wales. Clyde, normally very good with his ball security, just went for the miracle pass.
Now Queensland get a chance to really hurt them. This is the second chance New South Wales have given them. And Coyne it is on a runaround mission, linking up with Julian O'Neill. He plays it about 27 metres out from the line from Meninga for Larson. Larson picked up and driven back. Underneath was Dean Pay over the top. Paul Harrigan from Kerrod Walters now for G. And then for Darren Fritz. Fritz put down on the 20-metre line. Daly prominent in defence. Now Langer crosses that line again. Looks for Kevy Walters. He got rid of Paul Seranen. That's not a bad trick. Now it's away for, again, Mark Coyne. And Coyne will play it 12 metres out from the line. Still a couple remaining. Mullins calling for help on this wing. Meninga puts the kick in. Looking to see whether it was a late tackle. The referee said play on. Play by Stewart, back on his own line. Clark. Certainly securing the ball this time. Just inside the 10-metre line. And a penalty goes to the Blues, so they need this relief.
Yes, they've been under plenty of pressure. They're having to do a lot of defence. Unfortunately for Queensland, the little kick from Mal Meninga didn't get into the in-goal area. That would have meant a line drop out and another set of 6. Ricky Stewart finds touch about 40 metres out, 35 out from his own line. The footing out there very good. There was some worry that it might have been a little bit heavy, a bit slippery, but no trouble for the players.
Sheridan now. Striding it up to the 40-metre line. No score, State of Origin 2 from the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Stewart pumping it across for Daly to give a short ball for Clyde. The Canberra connection. 5 metres short of the halfway line. Ettinghausen serves it up. Harrigan had his foot down. Good run by the Novocastrian. Now for Stewart to put it across the heads of the three-quarters, but waiting for it was Willie Kahn.
Well, Willie Kahn not at all happy with his performance last week for the Broncos against Wigan. He'll be out for a big game. Certainly needs a little bit of improvement.
Larson swallowed up there by Harrigan, who had a look back at Annesley. Now he's given the penalty for not getting off the tackle player. That's all I can deduce. I think Paul thought maybe he'd get called out for a high shot. He has a look up. And the penalty, of course, given for staying down on the tackle player too long. Darren Fritz, 32 metres away from the New South Wales line. Let's go down to the sidelines to Blocker Roach.
We know that Benny Elias is best suited in the second marker area. He's getting caught out wide a lot of times, and Kevin Waters is reading it and they're running straight at him.
Billy Moore, but it was a forward pass there. So it'll be a scrum to go down about 28 metres out from the Blues line.
A planned move there from Queensland. The runner just didn't time his run perfectly and the ball touched forward.
Daly now. Defence up very quickly. Kevin Walters, Billy Moore. Put the New South Wales captain away. Brad Clyde now. Almost out to the 40-metre line.
Very bunched New South Wales. No width at all.
7th minute of the game. No score. Glenn Lazarus. That's where they are on the Melbourne Cricket Ground as they come across the halfway line. So the Blues seeing some of the opposition territory for, from memory, only the 2nd time in the game. Khan, pressure on him from Mullins. Mullins is very fast. Great kick and chase. That'll do Mullins the world of good. O'Neill now, tackle back on his 10-metre line.
Queensland almost caught there without a dummy half. Langer did a great job, got there and got a good ball away.
G. Queensland now, for the first time in the match really, under some form of pressure. And that pressure was amplified by the tackle of Dean Pay. Moore passing, looking for Fritz. But that's not the way to use Darren Fritz. Got to line him up and put the foot down for him. Langer clearing, and the ball coming down for Brasher in good field possession. He crosses the 30. Mullins angles back to the 20. Larson wraps him up, but here come the Blues now to launch their first attack of the game. Stewart, a long pass out for Harrigan, who goes into the air to take it. Flicks it out the back for Paul McGregor. He angles for an opening, but it doesn't present. They're 12 metres from the Queensland line for Ben Elias. Gives it up for Dean Pay. And the debutant player, one of them, is tackled a few metres out from the line.
They're stacking the left-hand side here, New South Wales.
Elias away, Lazarus! Lazarus gets the try! First of the game! First rugby league try on the Melbourne Cricket Ground.
And a very well executed move from New South Wales involving Ben Elias and the big man Lazarus coming through. Very difficult to stop here. They tried to move the markers around. You see that the play the ball man actually interferes with one of the Queensland players. It was Andrew G. And that meant that G couldn't get off the line, made the task easier for Lazarus coming through.
Glenn Lazarus puts a try on for New South Wales. Andrew G not impressed with his Broncos teammate.
Well, I think, in fact, he was protesting, Ray, to the referee that he couldn't make the tackle. He was being held back when Lazarus first received the ball. It doesn't matter now. The points are on the board.
I think Andrew G had every right to appeal to the referee as well. The man who played the ball, no doubt, manhandled the marker. That didn't allow G to get out, and with the momentum that Glenn Lazarus was able to get going, he was always going to be unstoppable that close to the line.
Tim Brasher takes on the role of goal kicker. No Rod Wishart. There they are, the big sticks. Inviting Tim Brasher, and he puts it between the uprights. The Blues lead Queensland 6-0. Here's a break, back in a moment.
New South Wales 6 with Queensland 0.
Ten minutes gone in State of Origin 2. Welcome back, New South Wales. A try for Lazarus, a goal for Brasher, and they lead Queensland 6-0. Early days as we go down for another comment from the sideline from Steve Roach.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what New South Wales needed. As Peter said, they were bunching up. There's absolutely no talk out there at the moment. The only one that's really putting online is Paul Harrigan.
McGregor now. His third touch in the game. He's out on the 30-metre line. Back and across. Both teams probe for openings. Daly, did he knock on? No. The referee said not quite. 40-metre line, and Stewart takes them away from that point. Ball bouncing up invitingly for Willie Khan. Khan coming back just beyond his own 30-metre point.
This is where Queensland's troubles started last time. They were very ordinary getting back after the kick. Made very little yardage. New South Wales were straight back on the attack.
That also illustrated one of the advantages that New South Wales do have with the long kicking game of Ricky Stewart. When Alan Langer kicked from his own line, as Hancock again proves very tough to bring down. Tim Brasher caught the ball 40 metres out.
Play by Hancock now. And a cross for Walters to turn. Oh, Gilmeister! Taken in an Origin special. Ciro got him a beauty, but little Trevor gets up and bounces back into it. Ciro hit him like a giant. Annesley rules 6 to go.
Good ruling. He's got it right there.
Langer now. Cross for Kevin Walters. 41 metres out from the Blues line. Queensland trailing 6-0. As Darren Fritz gets up a bit of speed. Put away by McGregor. Now, Kerrod Walters tries to beat the markers. They take him out of it, and Darren Fritz ambles up to about 25 metres out from the New South Wales line. Centre of the ground, centre of the MCG as they go across through Billy Moore and Mal Meninga. They find Willie Kahn, and he's tackled on the 20-metre line, but it's a penalty to Queensland. Offside against New South Wales.
Yes, the New South Wales back line ruled to be offside. It was good advantage played by Graham Annesley as Mal Meninga opts to take the tap. They go wide.
Through to Kevin Walters. Elias comes up quickly to make the tackle. 15 metres out from the line. Look at them. They're close, aren't they? As Andrew G works across the back of the ruck for Gary Larson, Billy Moore, and then back. Larson was held, not in possession. I thought it might have brought a penalty. Darren Fritz is tackled now. 6 more, says referee Annesley. So a great opportunity for Queensland. Elias rakes prematurely. In fact, he's got him for hanging all over the man playing the ball. Elias is not impressed. But Queensland, and now a scuffle up.
Well, Kerrod Walters there very upset with Tim Brasher, who refused to give him the football. Was flung to the ground. Brasher had the hand cocked. The right was about to be thrown, but sanity prevailed. The referee now speaking to both captains. Ben Elias, the man penalised from New South Wales. You would think that Julian O'Neill or Mal Meninga would step up. Here's the incident. Well, young Kerrod keen to get the football quickly. It wasn't happening.
Well, what he didn't know was Mal had already sent the signal in to take the shot at goal. I don't think it was needed.
I thought the Blues were very lucky not to be penalised for offside there on a couple of occasions. Really standing inside the 10-metre. Graham Annesley showing great restraint. Well, this is all a bit of a storm in a teacup, this. Why the touch judges needed out there, I don't really know. Let's just send them back, take the kick and get on with the game.
The penalty has been given, and it's a gift 2-pointer for Queensland. And Julian O'Neill to come up and take the shot at goal. Laurie Daly continues the confab with referee Graham Annesley. There's been about 5 or 6 committee meetings down there. Mal Meninga, Benny Elias, all participants. Benny, of course, one of the great strikers for the ball in Play the Balls. And he's still waving the head negatively as if to say, what did I do? See, when the ball's on the ground, you can strike for it, but he didn't get penalised for that. He got penalised because he actually was hanging on to the man playing the ball. If you give a penalty for that offence, though, every time in rugby league, you'd never stop blowing the whistle.
He was also to the side of the play the ball as well. He was the second marker, stepped around the New South Wales first marker, and that put him to the side. And I thought that was a valid penalty.
I think it's a good decision, Graham Annesley. I guess in all the hype, you forget about the referees at times, and I suppose he'd be as nervous, if not more nervous, than a lot of the players out there tonight.
Julian O'Neill then. Youngster wearing the famous Queensland #1 jumper. The jumper worn by Gary Belcher. And, of course, many other good Queensland fullbacks, including Colin Scott. Now Julian takes his first kick at the MCG and misses it. It's back in the field of play. New South Wales able to save it.
Well, the long kicking game is not the only problem for Queensland. Goal kicking for both teams was always going to be a little bit of a problem. Julian O'Neill and Tim Brasher not really recognised kickers, and he's missed a sitter there, Julian O'Neill. Fortunately for New South Wales, they cleaned up the bouncing ball.
Penalty now to New South. Inside the 10 against the Maroons.
It's not a real confident kick, was it, from Julian O'Neill? I remember seeing a young Laurie Daly a few years ago miss one from in front in his debut, and I don't think he's kicked for New South Wales since.
Look, I don't know much about the kicking caper at that kind of level, but I really thought he took a long time to set himself up as well. Maybe took too long.
6-0 then in favour of the Blues. A try for Lazarus converted by Brasher. And now they take the tap and Sirenen crosses the halfway line. Down on the sideline, Steve Roach.
Yeah, just a couple of things early already that have shown me that New South Wales were a lot hungrier tonight. The big hits from Harrigan and Sirenen, and also when the stink was on between Kerrod Waters and Tim Brasher, only one Queenslander ran in. The whole New South Wales side was ready to get involved.
Clyde now tackled on the 30-metre line. Elias dummies once and then has to pass. He thought about trying to run. Scurries back into dummy half for Paul Harrigan, and now for Rick Stewart. He lets a decoy runner go. The pass goes over the shoulder of Daly. Mullins gets rid of one. Sees an opening. Goes through it. Mullins. Sensational run.
Isn't he playing with some confidence for a man on his debut, Brett Mullins?
7 metres out from the line. Stewart, the long pass. Daly. Just a metre from the line. Ben Elias. Across now. Lofted pass. Takes a bit of the sting out of the attack. Brasher, taken by G and Fritz. Ben Elias on the last. Stewart steps around Kerrod Walters. Gets the kick out wide. Eddinghausen kicks again into the in goal. And off the feet, I think, of Mark Coyne.
Well, a little bit of Australian rules there. Ricky Stewart kicking the ball to Andrew Eddinghausen, who did a great job there. Nearly got to this one before Mark Coyne came across. Some very simple misses in the front line for Queensland defensively, but a try saver from Meninga on Laurie Daly.
What a debut for Brett Mullins. Great play by Eddinghausen. Now New South Wales wait for Queensland to give it back to them. Another 6. It's on offer, and the dropout from Julian O'Neill reaches the 40-metre line. Sirenen! And a penalty! A penalty for raking the ball out. Right in front, 22 metres out. And Daly will tell Brasher to go for goal.
And Timmy Brasher will be fairly happy that he has got an easy kick here, as you can see there. Kerrod Walters, that's a very ordinary play. It was well and truly out in the open. He's never going to fool the referee with that. I know his side was under a lot of pressure. And they're now an opportunity or a chance of going 8 points down, which means they'd have to score twice to get in front in this game.
I think the Blues, though, whenever these two sides come together after Sydney, they'll be looking over their shoulder. This Maroon side. They have an incredible record of coming from behind. Tim Brasher now. .22 out, right in front. He's got it. New South Wales leading 8-0 now.
The New South Wales Tories Blues 8 lead Queensland 0.
Welcome back. 8-0, New South Wales leading after 21 minutes in the second state of origin for 1994. Harrigan it is who's got the ball about 35 metres out from his own line. It's been a very, very good start for New South Wales. They were under some siege from Queensland for the first 7 or 8 minutes. Then they turned it all around and put the ball over the line off Glenn Lazarus. 8-0 they lead. And we're halfway through the first half of this game. O'Neill to play it now.
Well, if nothing else, Ray, the MCG crowd here certainly appreciate the kicking aspect of the game, the goal kicking, the general play kicking. It's all been New South Wales' way so far. Queensland certainly need to improve.
I think the Blues have mixed up their attack a little bit better than they did in the first game as well. They're still hitting on the fringe of the ruck. There's a little bit of a dust up here between Kerrod Wallace and Ben Elias. Comes as no surprise. Langer's knocked on from dummy half. You won't see that again this season. I was making the point that Lazarus and Harrigan really attacking on the fringe of the ruck against the likes of Alan Langer. They're also going up the middle of the ruck, establishing something close to the play the ball area.
Kerrod Walters and Benny Elias, they were mouthing off at each other. Kerrod had the finger in Benny's face, just telling him that he didn't fancy something that happened. And this is what happened. Benny smacked him across the face and wrestled him down. And then Kerrod gets up and he gets into Ben Elias's face here.
Well, there's no love lost, and I guess they're the two players who are fighting for the number 2 spot on the Kangaroo Tour behind Kerrod's brother Steve.
So New South Wales win the scrum, and a missed tackle by Queensland. Fittler it is with the ball. Away go the Blues now towards the 30-metre line. Ball played over there by Tim Brasher, across for Rick Stewart. Turns Glenn Lazarus back inside, and Lazarus uses all his weight to get it down to 25 metres out. A decoy run by Harrigan. Dean Pay reaches the 20-metre line. He's got to be watched, Dean Pay. He can offload under pressure. Elias is at dummy half again for Ricky Stewart now. Then Bradley Clyde out wide, about 15 metres out from the line, centre of the field. And they've got the choice of going either way. Ben Elias scurries out, then gets lost completely. Harrigan overruns it. Then Elias stands and offloads for Clyde to get a magic ball onto Brasher. And Brasher did well for Serenan. Then promoted by Ben Elias again. And they're only 5 metres out from the line. This is the last tackle now. A chance for the Blues. Stewart stands around a player and gets the kick in. It was knocked backwards in goal, but it'll be a line dropout. More pressure for Queensland.
Everything going New South Wales' way. They kept the ball alive there. Ben Elias got smashed in a tackle from Andrew G. And even this kick, it looked as though it was going to go too long. Meninga decided to play at it and couldn't beat the tackle of Stewart and Harrigan.
Those in goals are not all that deep here at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Elias getting a little bit of attention. And here was Ben Elias taken out in that last play that he was involved in. He played a very big role, didn't he? After the move broke down, he got lost but came back into it. Andrew Eddinghausen, he's put down 25 metres out from the line, and the Blues are back to centre field again. Dean Pay able to turn and spin and pop it off for Eddinghausen to try and improve. He does that. He's 15 out from the line. Still they're in the centre of the park. Elias uses Harrigan. He's tackled about 5 metres out from the line. Ben Elias looking for runners. Stewart switches the point of the attack. Across the back for Daly. Daly angles then. McGregor's 12 out from the line. He'll play it. Paul McGregor from Illawarra. Played back for Ben Elias. Then for Laurie Daly. The grubber kick looking for Eddinghausen. And it's taken over the dead ball by Michael Hancock. But again, Queensland to come back with a line dropout.
Well, isn't that a well-weighted kick there from Laurie Daly, forcing Michael Hancock? He has to take this ball. Looks for a moment like it might go dead, but the Andrew Eddinghausen right up his clacker.
This is all energy sapping for Queensland. Not long out now from half-time. They've had to burn up a lot of juice in the last 5 or 10 minutes. New South Wales looking to convert this pressure into points.
Lazarus was told to leave it alone, I'm sure, by Ricky Stewart. And he offered it for Bradley Clyde to take it down to the 20-metre point. New South Wales coming at the line again. And just how many more tackles can Queensland withstand? Played by Harrigan, given by Elias, back for Stewart, across now to McGregor. Almost a nonchalant pass, and then Brasher. Brasher's 12 metres out from the line, struggles to get up and play it. Ben Elias calls for a quick play the ball. The marker finishes on the seat of his pants. Fittler turns it in for Dean Pay. And the Canterbury player, the Canterbury captain, he's put away 11 metres from the line. Ben Elias on now for Brad Fittler. Puts on the step. Then McGregor. McGregor gets the pass away. Came off a Queensland hand. Eddinghausen goes back, looking for the line. Annesley doesn't restart the tackle count. It must have been a blue hand that went up and not a Queenslander. Ben Elias now, long pass for Bradshaw. Bradshaw throws it back desperately. McGregor gets a one-hander in. Eddinghausen is there. Then it's gone across for Harrigan. The ball is loose. Mel Meninga was almost into vacant pasture.
There's got to be a stage where on the last tackle you've just got to surrender and let the ball die. As Langer is driven back by Laurie Daly. Really got themselves into plenty of strife there, New South Wales. Overconfidence almost.
It was a show of confidence, no doubt about that. Razzle-dazzle stuff. And now Kevin Walters pushes it out for Billy Moore, and he's tackled. Thought about passing, and then realising, I suppose, the position on the scoreboard and where they are on the field. Fritz gets a short ball away. Gilmeister handled after Coyne, then flicks it out the back for Andrew G. Seranen comes up and gorillas in.
Darren Fritz has received the ball a couple of times, too wide on the ruck, and I just don't think it's the place for him to run. He needs to get the ball off the dummy half, full steam ahead, and get the big yards.
Timmy Brasher, current Australian fullback. 20-metre line for Brasher. 8-0 in favour of the Tooheys Blues. Stewart. Mullins comes in for another play. Outstanding start for Brett Mullins. Now Ben Elias serves it up for Harrigan, who takes it on the ad line. 30 metres out from their own line, the New South Wales side leading 8-0, and Dean Pay has not been overfazed by the debut either. He's been very prominent. Brad Clyde almost to the halfway. 5 tackles gone for the Blues now. And Ben Elias looks for Ricky Stewart. He's with it, onto the right foot, keeps it low. And across to Michael Hancock's wing. He comes away from the 20-metre line. The fullback O'Neill is coming up to support on the right. Hancock, he brings a roar from the crowd. They like him.
Again, Michael Hancock, he beat a player but really didn't make any yards. The best part about the run was it went to centre field to give options either way for Queensland. Really finding it difficult to get any pressure going, momentum going through possession and field position. This will help. They'll get a penalty here for a high tackle.
Well, best mates there, Paul McGregor. And one of his good friends from Illawarra, Darren Fritz. No malice really. I think he slid up there.
Daly looks at him as if, what'd you do that for?
This is the danger time for New South Wales. 10 minutes to go. They've had all the pressure. Queensland are past masters at being able to absorb all of that pressure and put on some points at the other end. It's Andrew G, a pretty soft run, 38 metres out from the New South Wales line. All offside again, New South Wales.
Darren Fritz goes up to that line of players that are offside. And he had a good line on them. I don't know that he obviously wasn't playing the advantage. This is Julian O'Neill, wrapped up and put down by Daly. 28 metres out from the Blues line. A chance for Queensland now. They really haven't had a chance since about the 7th minute of the game when they held all the aces. Here's Coyne. Coyne, the destroyer from State of Origin 1, uses Walters. Walters is 15 metres out from the line. They're over on the Great Southern stand side of the ground now. Back now for Larson. They work on the blind side again, and Stewart read it. Beautiful.
If that's not the play for Gary Larson to be coming involved in. Alan Langer's got the best short kicking game in the world, and Gary Larson's trying to roll one through. Not his job, and handed over cheap possession. He's had a great game defensively, but I don't think the kicking game really is Gary's caper.
Harrigan. Let's get down to the sidelines and take a comment from the big fella.
Yes, in my opinion, Queensland have to make some changes in the forwards. Fritz not getting deep enough and running onto the football, and they haven't got one forward who can break the line.
Fittler brushing Alan Langer away, and then McGregor flick passes. Eddinghausen, down the line he goes. Hancock chases. O'Neill comes across. Eddinghausen wrapped up. Playing his 21st Origin, Andrew Eddinghausen. A great run. Then across through Daly and Stewart. The chaser is Brasher. Taken, though, by Willie Kahn. Back to the 20-metre line for the restart.
Oh, he'll be disappointed, Ricky Stewart, that the ball either wasn't deeper or higher to give his chasers a chance. One of the best passes you will ever see, Paul McGregor putting Andrew Eddinghausen away down the right wing. This needed to put some pressure on. It didn't. Willie Kahn very safe. And 5 or 6 metres to the nearest chaser.
So we come back to Billy Moore now. About 12 metres out from his line. And Kerrod Walters makes an incisive run. Oh, great run by Kerrod. 3 metres into New South Wales' area. Then for Langer on the left. Across the face of Larson. Kevin Walters throws the dummy for O'Neill. 35 out from the line. Tremendous dummy half run by Kerrod Walters. Langer pushing it over for Fritz. And that's exactly what Gary Belcher's saying about Darren Fritz. He's not being able to play his natural game. Meninga's kick now goes down into the corner, but Brasher is there and well into the field of play. And Balmain, fullback, comes back to the 20-metre line.
Well, that's a fairly ineffective kick as well. Back to Steve Roach's comment, though, Ray. Queensland, I think, do need a new player on. You see Brad Mackay warming up. I think it's Mark Honer's the man. He was great in State of Origin 1 when he came on. Really got them rolling forward. I think he got them back into the match, and he'll certainly do the same here if he's given the opportunity.
Dean Pay now, 35 out from his own line. Ben Elias. Brad Mackay coming on, and it's going to be Paul Sirenen who leaves the field. Daly is tackled on the 40-metre line. A big start in the game for Paul Sirenen. Last tackle now for the Blues. Slowly played by Laurie Daly. And then onto the boot of Rick Stewart, who was man of the match the last time Origin football came to Melbourne. Happy hunting ground for him. Touched in flight, says the referee, but Queensland play it. Meninga able to step away from Clyde's tackle. He's lost the ball. Mullins gets the pass over for Harrigan. He loses the ball.
Oh, great tackle. Oh, scrambling defence. He had to score, Paul Harrigan. You can see the despair on his face and the pat on the back for Willie Kahn. Almost a fatal mistake by Queensland. Mal Meninga busting out of one tackle. The ball came out. Brad Mackay was the player responsible. Then Brett Mullins did a great job. Very evasive. Got the ball to Harrigan. Kahn goes low. And it was Julian O'Neill who came across with the vital touch at the end.
Well, he's put his body on the line, Willie Kahn. Queensland, they certainly, the rest of the players only 4 points there at least. Look over for all money there, Paul Harrigan.
This is Larson now. Hone has gone on, and Darren Fritz is now back on the bench. A glimpse of Gordon Talis sitting on that bench. What a big night for him. He'll be out there in the next half hour or so. Ball played by O'Neill. And now Meninga out to the 40-metre line. A good start for the Blues. The bounce of the ball has been great for them. They have made plenty of mistakes, though, I suppose. That was to be expected, but they've had the better of it. Brasher back on his own line. Inside, he's in goal. Now he's out. Langer leads the run down the park. Very good chase by Queensland, offered by Billy Moore and Alan Langer. And Eddinghausen has really put in tonight.
Well, the wingers need to get involved to take some pressure off their forwards. Danger time now inside the final 5 minutes of this first half, and so many tries and points scored in the last 5 and first 5 of each half. They must make sure that both teams muscle up in defence.
Try scorer in the match, Glenn Lazarus, with a good run. He left an imprint on the Queensland defenders. Now to be played by Brad Clyde. He was tackled by Kerrod Walters, and then it's gone from Ben Elias across for Stewart to keep it low again. And bouncing up again for Julian O'Neill. Brad Mackay is on. And Brad Mackay, of course, had that outstanding performance at the football stadium a couple of weeks ago. He topped the tackle count, 36 tackles. Many people thought he was the man of the match. 45 metres away from the Queensland line now. 8-0 in favour of the New South Wales Tooheys Blues. And Gilmeister! Well, Harrigan went for him with a shoulder. I think Harrigan's come off second best. Play by Gilmeister on the halfway line. On to Alan Langer and across Andrew G, finding Mal Meninga. He offers it back inside for Julian O'Neill, but Fittler's there to wrap him up. just into New South Wales's territory as they come away from the right of the ground, and it's Kerrod Walters working with Alan Langer. The ball goes to ground, and the scrum will pack midway between the 20-metre line and the halfway. Alfie Langer not happy with his own mistake.
Now again, the disappointment showing. You saw that Alan Langer was actually changing direction, and that's why the ball came out. Marcone there to clean up. That may have been their last opportunity. 2 minutes 50 left on the clock. As Brett Mullins, well, he's had a great game. Everything he's done out there has been very positive and very dangerous.
Daly now letting a decoy go in the shape of Fittler. It's come along the line for Clyde, and Clyde tries to run straight through Mark Coyne. Coyne hangs on. Larson comes in to help. Ettinghausen out from dummy half, taking some pressure away from the forwards and taking it away from the sideline. Takes it towards the centre of the ground. They're about 25 metres in now from the commentary side. And here's Brasher. Brasher put down. 25 metres out, right in the centre of the park. Another chance close to half-time for the Blues. McGregor runs to the defence line. Then Brad Clyde. He looked for Ettinghausen outside him. Ettinghausen had gone back infield. Clyde then submitted in the tackle. Elias gets it away on the 5th. It's with Stewart. He puts the cross kick in. He's looking for his Canberra teammate, but Brad Mackay and Laurie Daly are there in defence anyway.
Again, not a great kick there from Stewart. He wanted to go high, but an ominous set of 6 for Queensland. Defensively, they looked tired. They weren't coming up. If you're going to be caught with tired defence, it will be with the inside pass. Brasher nearly going straight up the middle of the ruck.
Some of these players in the maroon jumpers, let's not forget, they have had a torrid portion of the season. And I'm sure that Wigan match has taken plenty out of many of them.
That took a little bit out of Michael Hancock too. Glenn Lazarus front on in defence.
Larson running into Harrigan, and down underneath, assisting in the tackle was Brad Mackay. Kerrod Walters back and across for O'Neill to clear, and off his own 30-metre line, the ball bounces on the New South Wales 30-metre line before coming back to here, and Brasher runs it down to give to Ettinghausen. Ettinghausen taking in a bumping tackle. Andrew G involved over the top. This is McGregor. He's had a fairly high involvement rate, probably higher than his centre partner Brad Fittler.
He's been very aggressive in defence, Paul McGregor. It's Harrigan, who is the best player on the field, I think, well, not by a proverbial mile, but I do think that in an outstanding forward pack, he's been the best. As Stewart tries to one over the top, well-positioned Julian O'Neill. Stewart chases his own kick and comes up with a pretty good tackle on the fullback.
So play now is about 25 metres out from the Queensland line. We're playing in front of a crowd of, well, I suppose 90,000. It's just an incredible atmosphere here. About 90,000 Australian Rugby League record crowd. Langer put down by Mackay, but not before he got it back to Willie Kahn to grab some more metres and take the play into Blues territory by that much, a couple of metres. Then it's away from Kerrod Walters on to Gilmeister. Oh, Larson. Gary obviously wasn't looking at what was going on. And another very ordinary mistake made by the Queenslanders.
That would be half-time. The siren goes. Queensland finished with the mistake. They created plenty of them in the first half. That's why they're trailing by 8 points.
8-0 in favour of New South Wales. A try in the early minutes to Glenn Lazarus. It was converted by Tim Brasher. Brasher adding a penalty to that tally as Wally Lewis, the Queensland coach, goes away with a concerned look on his face and probably more concerned about the tiredness shown late in the game by some of his forwards, and of course the error rate is climbing all the time for the Queenslanders. Brett Mullins leaves the ground, an auspicious debut. Queensland again looking down the barrel of a fairly substantial lead. 8-0 in favour of the Blues. We'll take a break, then we'll come back. And Ken Sutcliffe will join us with Peter Sterling for the halftime summation. Don't go away, we're coming back to you in just a moment. Welcome back to that magnificent sight at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Around 90,000 fans here watching New South Wales leading Queensland. At the break, it's 8 points to 0, and Steve Roach, has been to the New South Wales room. Are you there, Steve?
Yeah, very happy Phil Gould at half-time. He had plenty of praise for his big forwards. He's saying they are making the easy yards in the middle of the ruck. He said one thing he pointed out, don't go to sleep at marker. Kerrod Waters will run there. He's run twice and only takes a couple of times for him to run there for Queensland to get back into the game. He said when you go up into defence, don't be wanting to get back the 10 metres. Make sure you finish the tackle on the Queensland players because they're going to try and offload the football to get back into this game.
Is Laurie Daly all right?
Yeah, Laurie Daly, yeah, he did take his boots off. He's got a little bit of an ankle problem, but I'm sure that he'll be back out.
Thank you, Steve. Gary, what's happening in the other dressing room?
Well, Ray, Wally Lewis doesn't see any reason to panic just yet. He does, however, want his forwards to go forward a little bit better, and that will help help his kicking game out. To state the obvious, they certainly need to reduce the errors. What he does see is, though, plenty of chances for Kerrod Walters around the ruck, as I think Steve just mentioned, that Phil Gould alluded to, with quick play the balls.
What's it feel like standing down there with about 90,000 looking down on you?
Well, they're doing the wave, they're chanting. It's certainly it's an awesome feeling. I'd love to be out there.
I'll bet you would. Okay, well, of course, on the commentary team tonight, one of the great AFL players of all time, and now a Sydney Swan, Dermot Brereton. Have you enjoyed it?
It's been fantastic. It makes me feel like pulling on the boots myself, even though it's not my sport.
Well, Dermy, what's the thing that comes out of the game that's struck you most?
Well, I think the crowd really enjoying the big hit-ups with Harrigan. He's been fantastic in the first half, and I think they really appreciate that, and they like to see a little bit of the physical stuff going on.
How many people in your mind are here? You'd know better than any of us.
Well, I've played here a few times in the big crowds, and there isn't too many seats left in this stadium at all. And when that happens, you're usually up around the 90,000 mark. So you could plus or minus 2,500 either way of 90,000, I'd say, at the moment.
Of course, they had 120,000 here before they built the Great Southern Stand. They'll never get
Correct.
that many again, will they?
Well, the capacity can't fit that anymore, and there was like about 40,000 of those bodies were in standing room back in those days, so that's not possible anymore. I think capacity's a little bit over 100,000, so they've gone exceptionally close tonight.
They're coming back out, Dermy. Just one thing, with a crowd like this, do you have trouble hearing the calls when you're out there?
A little bit you do, and the one thing that you do notice at the MCG, it's a huge velodrome, and as I'm getting drowned out right now, the noise actually is physical. It hits you, it's not just sound.
Dermot Brereton, thank you for his contribution so far in our telecast tonight. As Queensland come back, these pictures are going around the world. America, Asia, New Zealand, England, and of course right across Australia. We hope you're enjoying it on the Nine Network.
Gee, Ray, it's no wonder Dermot Brereton got injured so much. He's been knocked around by the noise out there. He's kidding, isn't he?
Have a look at these, Sterler.
Well, here we see the statistics from the first 40 minutes, and if anything, they do flatter Queensland, although it does illustrate they did have less ball. Only had it 18 times and turned it, or held it for 7 through to 6 tackles, a much better conversion rate for New South Wales. Handling errors wasn't too bad for either side. That surprises me, but the important thing with the handling errors was New South Wales committed theirs early in the game, Queensland probably later, and that's where the pressure was converted. The hit-ups for both sides, well, here we see New South Wales, Brad Clyde again working the place down. Harrigan has been outstanding. Ben Elias has done a lot of tackles close in. Really, the big charges from the likes of Harrigan, Clyde, they've been outstanding. Much more work here for Queensland. No surprise to see Moore and Larson up so high. That's a large count in 40 minutes, 20 tackles each. And Darren Fritz, 11 hit-ups. That was good work, but they did contain him fairly well.
Phil Gould now goes back to his vantage point. Will New South Wales level it and take us to a decider at Lang Park? It will be the 6th decider required in Origin football, or will Queensland come from behind and wrap it up? We'll know in 40 minutes as the second half starts to unfold, and Lazarus picks it up where he left off. When Lazarus, the man that scored the try. Brasher, 2 goals, as Bradley Clyde is tackled just inside his 30-metre line. Stewart pushing it along and looking for Harrigan. Harrigan able to get a pass away. His arms hadn't touched the ground. And he offered the ball and gave it to Brad Mackay.
Well, he's lost the ball to Mackay. A little bit hurt in that tackle. So they started the second half the way they did the first half, a mistake in their own territory. We see Mackay in a pretty heavy tackle. Langer going low, helped by Andrew G. And the ball comes out. Centre field scrum. Good opportunity to attack.
Interesting to note Brad Mackay packing into the second row. Bradley Clyde still locking the scrum. Willie Kahn is tackled about 32 metres out from the Blues line. A chance for the Maroons as Mal Meninga from dummy half puts the ball on the chest of Billy Moore. 28 out on the camera side, the commentary side of the cricket ground. That's the member side. For those that are familiar with it, across now, Mark Hone! Hone stepped out of a tackle, but New South Wales have got it. It's with Laurie Daly, is it not? Yes.
Mark Hone found Laurie Daly. He tried to get Julian O'Neill. A good bust from Mark Hone. As Gary Belcher pointed out, he really changed the fortune of Queensland in the first game. And I'm hoping he will do the same in the second. He started the second half off in very positive fashion.
It's been a tidy start for Dean Pay, who just played the ball. Ben Elias is brought down 30 metres out from his line. Stewart a dummy half. Here's the call from Brad Mackay, who came from the open to the blind. And there he is playing the ball now. On the fifth tackle, 35 metres out from his own line. A hesitant delivery from dummy half from Ben Elias. Stewart gets the kick in. And some of that hesitation from dummy half from Ben Elias, it could be that he's not hearing the calls. 90,000 people, a strange ground, and as Dermot Brereton said, the crowd noise is quite physical. It hits you. You can feel it. Hancock now, 27 metres out from his line. Queensland trailing 8-0. The second origin of 94. Andrew G goes up, takes a shoulder. It wouldn't have hurt him too much. He bounced off. He'd lost his balance, and then it went to Langer, and now to Moore. Moore just underneath a high shot there, I thought, from Daly. Now it's across for Kevin Walters to use Julian O'Neill. He tries to stand Bradley Clyde up, but big Paul McGregor, he wrapped him up. His defence has been strong, the Illawarra centre. Out now for Alan Langer to kick from just inside his 40-metre line. It bounces favourably now for this young man, Brett Mullins, son of Bill, who wore this sky blue jumper many times. Crowd pleaser he was, and this youngster's doing the same. On the halfway line, Tim Brasher plays it. Ben Elias goes for a dummy half scamper, and he's pulled down by Mark Hone. Good work by the front rower. Now for Stewart, across the back, and a couple of decoy runners for Daly to push it on. McGregor is over the halfway mark. He flicks the ball out, didn't have to be thrown, and that's what's going to beat New South Wales if they're to be beaten. Unnecessary pushing of the pass. Larson, good tackle front on by Brad Mackay. Lazarus came over the top. Now it's with Langer. He gets inside the 40-metre line. He's 35 out now. And the Queenslanders are in the centre of the park. As they go onto this attacking raid, a chance to go both ways. They come to a wide blindside with Andrew G.
This is what Queensland needed, a couple of sets of six in a row. Mackay made the early mistake and the early pressure in this second half from the Maroons.
Larson ran the decoy. That made a bit of an opportunity for Mark Coyne. Coyne wrapped up again by Lazarus over the top, and underneath was Ben Elias. Kerrod Walters a dummy half. In the team tonight for his brother Steve, and now Langer puts the kick across the park. Up they go, and Timmy Brasher came down with it. They didn't talk to each other, Mullins and Brasher. It could have brought them both undone.
Well, let's remember that Brett Mullins does play fullback at Canberra. Plays very well, can take the high ball. We saw him do that early in the first half to get his confidence up, and I suppose on that occasion he thought it was his once again.
And there was plenty of urgency from the New South Wales players. They know that is a pet move of Queensland. The cross kick from Alan Langer to Willie Kahn. They both reacted very quickly.
This is the 41st State of Origin match, and Queensland hold it 23-17. The series, of course, has been contested 12 times, and Queensland hold the better of that 7-5. Stewart is with it, tries to clear, came off Queensland hands, and then knocked on, so he'll put a scrum down.
Well, I think the first charge down was okay, but when Trevor Gilmeister tried to pick it up, it appeared to come off his leg, but I think Annesley rules there was also hands in there. There's the charge down from Billy Moore. Very difficult to pick it up from that angle. Both Ricky Stewart and Brad Clyde appealed.
New South Wales working the scrum through Stewart, just outside their 20-metre line. Daly comes in for a heavy tackle on the 30-metre point now. Clyde fends away from one, takes it towards a wide blindside, and he's greeted there by Mark Hone and Trevor Gilmeister. Elias now gives it for Harrigan. Harrigan smashed into the ground by Langer. Sirenen getting ready to come back into the battle. And Dean Fray is on the halfway line now, where he's tackled by Kerrod Walters and Mark Hone. Elias across for Stewart to kick. He doesn't go for a great deal of distance. He tried to place it more than reef it, and that's where he's placed it. Just a couple of metres inside the 20-metre line, Queensland's end of the ground.
That kind of kick just steadies the ship. Waste a little bit of time, and it gives New South Wales a chance to get their defence set. You were talking about those statistics, the amount of games played, Ray. One of the important ones, in the last 12 years, on 10 occasions, the team that has won the first game has gone on to win the series. History has an amazing thing of repeating itself, and Queensland, well, that's one thing in their favour.
This is Coyne now. Originally tackled by Daly, but it needed some assistance from Brad Fittler. Played back, and Walters' Kevin was a dummy half. Billy Moore just outside the 20-metre line. Kerrod now gets to his position. Andrew G lumbers up towards the 30-metre line. He's met by an enthusiastic Blues defence. They'll be remembering State of Origin 1. They thought they had them shut down, but they got out of it. Now Alfie Langer puts the pass away onto the feet of Coyne. No knock on. But the advantage applies, and New South Wales come back with it. Played by Ricky Stewart.
He did well there, Mark Coyne. He was never going to catch that footy and put it on the toe. With a better bounce, he may have been able to come back up with it. Unfortunately for Queensland, though, it's New South Wales back on the attack in their half.
Elias with a one-handed pass up for Brad Clyde, and Clyde is 35 metres out from the line. There's a bit of yardage to be gained just close to the play the ball area as Daly now works an angle for McGregor. He got a pass away very well. Harrigan for a big man did equally as well. Then Dean Fray picks up the dregs, and he plays it 40 metres out from the line. A little bit of disorganisation here amongst the Blues as Brad Fittler steps. Andrew Eddinghausen kicks. Now the chase is on, and Kerrod Walters comes down with it.
It was very noticeable towards the end of that first half that Brad Fittler was coming in and playing first receiver much more often. I think that's what he needs to do. Really puts pressure on defences. The big step off the right foot. Good ball back inside to Eddinghausen. And great chasing support play from Tim Brasher. I know that the Australian coach believes that Brad Fittler will play lock at the end of the year. And he needs to be closer to the action a little bit more tonight. Very dangerous player.
Michael Hancock now. Trying to resist the tacklers as he always does. No markers. So Hancock goes up another 10 metres before he's put away by Harrigan, and Pay coming over the top. That sees the fifth tackle go, and Kerrod Walters finds Alan Langer. Ben Elias has not stopped getting out from dummy half and trying to put some pressure on the kicker. He hasn't always succeeded, but at least he's been there trying. Now Brasher, put down by Andrew G, 43 metres out from the Blues line. New South Wales by 8-0 as Stewart gives it from Mullins, and Mullins runs into Larson. Larson puts him away right on the halfway mark. This is Lazarus, just inside the 40-metre line. Australian record crowd was just over 78,000, and that was, of course, for the St George South Grand Final in '65. So this is more than beaten that. It's absolutely smashed it. There's a punch-up in back play. Fittler offloads. Bradley Clyde is put away by Mal Meninga. And now Andrew G is engaging there with Paul Harrigan.
There's two of the more aggressive customers out there. Andrew G plays very physically. Paul Harrigan, he's the one I wouldn't be picking. You see here that Harrigan, he throws the first little 1-2. G answers in kind. Harrigan grabs Andrew G, who throws the first punch. Interesting to see which way this one goes. If Paul Harrigan hadn't grabbed Andrew G, then nothing would have happened. I believe it should go the Maroons' way.
Harrigan has been in the square ring of State of Origin before.
He has, and Andrew G has just done the tag team with Munster Bella, who of course isn't here tonight. He's taken over, and he's done all right. He may have squared the ledger.
So which way is it going to go? Penalty goes to the Blues. Well,
you didn't see the replay, Graham Annesley.
Well, that is a tough call on Queensland, I believe. Harrigan, he initiated it on 2 occasions. He was lying on his back. He pulled Andrew G. He takes the ball up here, as he's done so well tonight. He's hit by G now. He goes to the ground. Harrigan reaches up there. G reacts. Now, Andrew G's trying to get away from marker here. If Harrigan doesn't grab him, nothing's going to happen. Should have gone the other way for mine.
Can you quickly run down and tell the ref, Sterlo?
Andrew G has time to think about it, and his view of it will not be helped if, in fact, Stewart grabbing hold of Harrigan, just probably saying, settle down, forget about it, you've got a penalty anyway. Now, the super sub. Gordon Talis is getting ready to make his Origin appearance. Brasher, right in front, 29 out, there she goes, and it's a goal! New South Wales 10-0 now.
Queensland
51 minutes gone. 10-0 New South Wales, 1 try, 3 goals. Tim Brasher's kicking has been good. Knocked backwards, I think you'll find, is the ruling. It must be. 15 metres out from their line. New South Wales, that is, as Lazarus plays it and Clyde comes surging out to the 20-metre line. Darren Smith is getting ready to come on for Queensland, as is Gordon Talis. And both are impact players. That's what Wally Lewis needs now.
Yes, that's an attacking move by Wally Lewis. The report we get is that Gilmeister and G are coming off, 2 very strong defenders, but these 2 guys going on in Talis and Darren Smith run the football as good as any forwards in the game.
Now, talking of running, Julian O'Neill comes back 43 metres out from his line, so the New South Wales defenders will have to go up another gear when Smith and Talis get out there, because the 2 fresh players, they love to run it. So as if they're not giving it their all, the Blues are going to have to find some more out of the reserve tank in defence. Kerrod Walters across for Langer. Langer, Kevin Walters. Now inside comes O'Neill. G has gone off, so has Gilmeister, so the replacements are with us now. Mark Hone, 32 metres out from the line. Dummy half, Kerrod Walters. Chance here for the Maroons. Kerrod bumped into Brad Mackay, got the pass to Langer. Langer put the grubber through. Stewart was there waiting for it. And this halfback duel, so intense between Stewart and Langer.
There's no doubt Phil Gould would have worked long and hard on stopping the short kicking game of Alan Langer. Whenever Queensland get down on that 20-metre line, Stewart does drop into the second line of defence.
We've got about 26 minutes of State of Origin 2 remaining as Brad Fittler reaches the 40-metre line, his own end of the park. Across now for Stewart to turn it out the back for Brad Clyde, and he's taken up the top by Meninga. Good strong tackle by the Australian captain. Langer was underneath. The heir apparent to the Queensland captaincy as Stewart puts the kick in, bounces down to the 20-metre line. O'Neill comes away 10, 15 metres, met there and pulled down by McGregor and Mackay.
And trailing by 10, I really think the Queensland have to start taking a few chances. They get the penalty here. And probably the best chances to take are to run the football when the opposition least expect it. That's from your own line and on the last tackle. Great time to attack on the last. Both wingers go back. Sometimes the halfback drops out. So you're taking on a shortened line. I think that's a good option for the Maroons at the moment.
Well, I think you've already pointed out, Sterlo, Ricky Stewart is out of the line. Last tackle, if not the 4th tackle. And that's the time for Kevy Walters, the man who we didn't suspect would finish the game. He looks good. I think he's the man who's got to read it and set the back line alight for Queensland.
Well, about time too. Graham Annesley gets New South Wales. They're well and truly offside. Quick play on. They're offside again, New South Wales. He plays the advantage, Annesley. That's Willie Kahn involved.
Down to the 20-metre line, the Australian winger. Willie Kahn, 20 metres out from the line. Mal Meninga out from dummy half, turns it away for Coyne. Over the top, back for Kahn. Now New South Wales, it's all hands on deck, trying to repel the Queensland attack. Langer, short pass up. Kevin Walters gets inside the 10-metre line. Taken over the top by Ben Elias. Underneath was Glenn Lazarus, away. A good pass out there for Talis. And Talis is down about 5 metres out from the line. The St George youngster, his first touch. Across now for Langer, throws the dummy. Harrigan was waiting for him, and they force the little fella back. This is the last tackle, and Kevin Walters calls the shot. There's Meninga with it. Meninga turns it around the back. Coyne gets a kick in. But Brasher is there to take it for New South Wales.
Well, they attempted to run the football, but good sliding defence from New South Wales. Brad Clyde goes through. We've seen, I think it's Elias that's been flattened in back play. Mullins calls for some assistance, and Willie Kahn is the player from Queensland called out. The crowd reacted. It was a fair way from the football. And it looks as though a penalty will be sufficient. Oh, didn't miss him either. Willie Kahn, maybe again a show of frustration. Not normally a player of cheap shots. Even if Elias was in his way, that was still a fairly cheap shot.
Benny's probably not the most popular New South Welshman to have eyeballed the Queenslanders. I don't know that he'd win a popularity poll.
No, he wouldn't. I don't think he cares either. One thing about Benny, though, he's fought back at the critics. He had a great first game. He's held his own here tonight. Certainly doesn't think his rep career is over.
Stewart along the line for Daly to turn it back inside for Brad Clyde. Clyde now, he's about 28 metres out from the Blues line. Running it out of their own danger zone. This is Harrigan. Harrigan to play it as we go down the sideline. Steve Roach.
Yeah, you've got to take your hat off of Benny Elias. He's the old fox. He milked that penalty. I don't think it come anywhere near his head. But Ricky Stewart, what a great player he is for the State of Origin. He's into everyone, the forwards, the referee and the Queenslanders.
Lazarus shot the pass inside. He was heading over the line. The same difference anyway. But big Glenn Lazarus, he never ceases to amaze me. He has the agility and the ability to be in a place that you're not expecting a front rower. Look at him here.
Well, I'm his greatest fan, Glenn Lazarus, but I think he's been a little bit disappointing. In fact, looked like he might have been carrying a little bit of weight for some of the season, but this is the best game I've seen him play in a long time. And as you pointed out, Ray, his greatest attribute was his flexibility and agility to get off the ground for such a big man.
Mark Coyne gingerly gets to his feet. Langer running now, running more in the match at this point in time. 22 minutes to go, and New South Wales leading 10-0. Billy Moore, held by Dean Pay and Paul McGregor. They're 10 metres into New South's area, across from Kevin Walters, and running with it is Gordon Talis. And the ball comes out, it'll be a penalty, it is, to Queensland. Raking the ball out in the tackle.
And you get the feeling with 21 minutes to go now, this is probably the most crucial stage of the game for Queensland. They really must take advantage of being down this end of the field and put some points on here. They need to get something to a springboard to work off.
Well, what they do need to do, if they don't score a try in this set of six, is get the ball back, put the ball in the in goal. That's where they've failed. We've seen Timmy Brasher and Brett Mullins a couple of times bring the ball back into the field of play. Queensland sets of six are broken down. They need to get continuous football.
Daly wrestling with Meninga, and an appeal from Meninga is upheld by the referee. Penalty goes to the Maroons. Langer will take the quick tap. He's telling the ref to get them back to 10. They haven't made their decision yet. What they are doing is working out which play they'll go for. Talis takes one to within 15 metres of the line. Larson on the blind side. Darren Smith ran the decoy. Langer gave it to Kevin Walters. They cut out Mal Meninga, and Mark Coyne is put down 10 metres out from the Blues line. Over there is Michael Hancock. He tries to make the break, but he's wrapped up and put away by Andrew Eddinghausen. Also involved in the tackle, Dean Pay from Kerrod Walters out now to Alfie Langer. Across for Kevin Walters. His ankle seems to be standing up okay. About 11 metres out from the uprights, right in the centre of the ground. As we come from Kerrod Walters over now for Langer. Turns it back into the centre of the park. Billy Moore is with it. He plays the ball. Across to the left for Langer to turn inside for Gordon Talis. He floats the ball over the top. Langer decides to go for the kick. It's not a bad one, very high. Brasher can't take it. Here's a chance for Queensland. 6 more tackles. Larson. Gary Larson's a metre from the line. Kerrod Walters calls for a quick play the ball. Throws the dummy. Queensland are almost over. Mark Hone, there's the line. Just a metre down the ground. Kerrod Walters, Alan Langer. Now Billy Moore. Now they're 9 metres out from the line. Down 10-0. The Queenslanders need to score here. Kerrod Walters for the big captain. Meninga. He's a couple of metres away from that corner post. Very, very close to the line. Kerrod Walters again. Long ball for Langer. Equally so for Kevin Walters. Then Darren Smith. Now Gary Larson. O'Neill channels back infield. And O'Neill not held. Now he's almost over the line.
Oh, come on, Queensland.
Desperate stuff. O'Neill struggles to his feet. Darren Smith gets it away. Kevin Walters puts the kick in. It came off a Blues player, but he didn't play at the ball.
Well, that's just great scrambling defence. Queensland throwing the ball wide. They created an overlap. Darren Smith threw the crucial pass. Julian O'Neill bounced off a couple of players and was almost over the line. That's the kind of defence that wins games, that wins premierships.
Seranen goes back on. 18 minutes of the match remaining. Brad Fittler tries to step his way through, almost reaches the 20-metre line. The Blues able to repel the attack of Queensland. On that occasion, you could feel the Maroon machine starting to click into gear. The two fresh men on there, Darren Smith and Gordon Talis, have given them a new frame of impact as the penalty goes now to New South Wales.
But as Gary Belcher pointed out, even on the last tackle again, the ball did not get into the in-goal area. We just wonder whether New South Wales could have held on for another set of 6 as Dean Pay leaves the field. I don't think I've seen a better performance in a player's first state of origin than what I've seen from Dean Pay tonight.
Thank you, Melbourne.
So the tap to be taken by Ben Elias. Close to the halfway line. And Paul Seranen back in the game. Groan from the crowd. Seranen roughed up in the tackle. Stewart, Harrigan's put it down. And the scrum will pack just on the New South Wales side of halfway. So another opportunity comes for the Maroons now. The crowd, 85,513, I'm told. 85,513. It's an Australian record crowd. 7,000 up on the 65 grand final. It falls short of the world record, which stands at 102,000 from Odsal. Now, Kerrod Walters uses Billy Moore to reach the 40-metre line. New South Wales leading by 10 points to 0. The Queenslanders desperate for a converted try. Gordon Talis, young dragon, forced back. Felt the full power of Paul Harrigan. Talis appeals for a penalty as Kerrod Walters goes from dummy half. 35 metres out from the line. And time running out. 16 minutes to go in the game. Mark Holmes' pass goes to ground. Brasher comes away. Brasher slices through. Brasher's to the 40-metre line. Queensland desperately getting back into possession. Fittler. Wrapped up by Langer and Larson.
I know it broke down for Queensland there, but G. Marcone is an improved player. Really times his run. Big defence from Darren Smith there. Puts Lazarus on his backside.
Harrigan taken around the top.
High shot.
Kerrod Walters, he'll be called out.
He's got a very high shoulder. Has Paul Harrigan. Although that may be a little bit premature coming in. But the players around it reacted. And I think even Kerrod Walters, he had to react in some way. Yeah, it is high. It's higher than the shoulder, but again, a penalty is sufficient, and rightly so.
Kerrod appealing to referee Annesley, saying it was only the shoulder, sir. Harrigan sucking some water in. Stewart won the Man of the Match award in the New South Wales team. Just once less than Peter Sterling. Peter holds that record at 4 Man of the Matches for New South Wales. And now the tap 35 metres away from the line to be played out now. And across from Stewart for Siren. Siren was on the 30-metre line, pulled down by Kerrod Walters, who hasn't stopped working. And neither is Gary Larson, the other player involved in that tackle. Ben Elias threw a dummy to himself there.
And nearly fell for him.
Yeah, that's the worrying part. Now it's with Stewart, across the back, and Mackay it is, who's brought down 20 metres out. Just seems to be a fair bit of hesitation in a lot of the work around the rucks on both sides. As Daly decides to go himself for one of the few times in the game. Eddinghausen got a shocker of the ball, and that has seen it go right back to the 40-metre line. This is the last now. Stewart gets back there to take the kick and then drives it along the ground. Crowd, they really appreciate the kicking game and the kicking prowess of this man, Rick Stewart.
Well, that's the 30 metres that Laurie Daly had just thrown away. Ricky Stewart coming from an offside position, back around the ruck. What a beautiful kick to the corner, relieving all the pressure.
I think even more importantly too, Badge, there is Adrian Voles comes on, gets his first taste of Origin football. He's gone through the ranks from the Gold Coast. In fact, Stewart kicked there. He knew that his New South Wales players were struggling to get back on side, so he really couldn't give possession over.
So as Adrian Vowles comes into the match, we're reminded now that New South Wales have still not used Nagus, Johns and Barnhill. Phil Gould has got plenty of fresh men on the bench. Vowles has gone on for Kevin Walters.
And David Barnhill now moves to the sideline. Very good defensive player, and that's probably what's needed as Meninga tries to beat Daly on the outside, can't do so. Now the last for the Maroons, O'Neill at dummy half.
Daly has almost seemingly taken it upon himself to mark up on Mal Meninga. Oftentimes when Mal has taken the ball up, it's been Laurie Daly waiting for it. Mullins gets a long pass across from Bradshaw. Then he comes out the other side of the defensive wall. Mullins to play at 42 out from his own line. Fittler a dummy half using Clyde. And Clyde it is, it's pulled down by Adrian Vowles. Pretty close to the halfway mark. Lars ducking under the high tackle of Gordon Talis. Brad Mackay comes from the field and David Barnhill goes on, and a penalty goes to New South Wales against Kerrod Walters, I believe, for raking the ball out again.
Well, the other player in trouble there, Brett Mullins, we can't see him on the see Benny here. Gives himself a penalty. We can't see it on that angle. Brett Mullins looks like he wants to go off. Kenny Nagus on the sideline warming up. He's got some sort of groin injury, Mullins.
I don't know if he wants to go off. I think he's struggling, arguing to stay on. Might be a teammate, Ken Nagus, but Mullins doesn't want to give him an opportunity to come on and impress too much in this last 11 minutes. And if New South Wales can score in this set of 6, I hesitate to say it, but I do think it's too high a mountain for Queensland to climb.
Ball played by Andrew Eddinghausen. Stewart with a short pass, looking for his forward runner. It was Paul Sirenen. And look at that Queensland defence, meeting the big New South Welshman and forcing him back. Larson, Darren Smith and Gordon Talis. And now it's with Stewart. He shows it to Fittler. Tries to do it himself. There's a try! McGregor! Paul McGregor! Ricky Stewart magic! Ricky Stewart magic! McGregor gets the try. 69 gone. 14-0 the Blues.
Yeah, Ricky Stewart ran the football, and that was the important thing, but also a lot of bodies in motion. And you'll see the gap opens up on the outside because the Queensland players are put at 6s and 7s. Here's Ricky Stewart going across now. We freeze play there. You see the fact that he's going across. Here's McGregor coming back on the inside. That's put pressure on the Queensland defence. As play continues on, and we'll freeze it again now. You see that player, the Queensland player, has gone in to make the tackle. Queensland a little bit tired in defence over here. No cover defence coming across on the inside. A big gap there for Paul McGregor to go through. Ricky Stewart, he committed 2 players, and that opened up the hole. There's the player going in low. It was Mark Hone, and Darren Smith had not come across.
Well, Paul McGregor's had a big match, Gary Belcher. A deserving try for him.
He has, and he won't score many more easier tries than that. One thing's for sure, though, now, I don't think New South Wales will go into their shell. It looks like they've got a win here. But Laurie Daly stressed last time. I thought they relaxed a little bit and let Queensland back into match 1.
Tim Brasher A smile on the face. It wasn't there when he attempted his first of 3 successful kicks, and that's wiped the smile from his face. 14-0, New South Wales.
New South Wales 2 is Blues lead Queensland by 14 points to 0. The replacement in the New South Wales team, number 14, Ken Nagers, making his State of Origin debut, replaces number 5, Brett Mullins.
Welcome back to the Melbourne Cricket Ground. 71 minutes has elapsed in State of Origin 2, and the Blues are leading 14 points to 0, and Ken Nagers has gone on to make his Origin debut. Mullins is off, and Ken Nagers, his Canberra Raiders teammate, is on, and that kick is for him. The ball bounces badly for Queensland, but Willie Kahn is there to save. Look at Kahn across the ground.
Mixed emotions, I suppose, for Kenny Nagers' parents. His father Matt is stressed. He'll be cheering for Queensland tonight. He feels his son's a Queenslander, but I'm sure he'll be proud of him nonetheless. Kenny will look for that first touch of the ball, or that first tackle.
This is Michael Hancock now. Barnhill, as I told you, the other side of the break is on for Brad Mackay. Harrigan involved in the tackle, still working hard. Adrian Vowles down, able to unload. O'Neill there to support. Slips away from Barnhill's tackle. And 40 metres out now from the Queensland line. 7.5 minutes of time remaining. 14-0, the Blues in front. This is Larson. Kerrod Walters. Langer driving it down inside the New South Wales 20-metre point for Andrew Eddinghausen. A long run back for him to recapture. And here comes Eddinghausen. Brilliant run by him. He served notice here tonight that he doesn't like being put on the bench, as was the case in State of Origin 1, through Daly to Fittler. Meninga chases. Nagers is with the ball, and Nagers is over the sideline.
Well, Brad Fittler didn't do any favours for Ken Nagers there. Gave him the ball. Nagers, as he's done so often this season in the domestic competition, tried to beat the man on the outside. Willie Kahn, too smart for that. Showed him the sideline. Nagers tried to take it, and Kahn swooped.
Chance here for Queensland then when they win this scrum. But they're behind by 14 points. Unlike that miracle performance at the Sydney Football Stadium, this would seem impossible. Penalty taken by Alan Langer, finding the line. 10-9 the penalties in favour of the Maroons, and that's the 20-metre line where they'll take the tap with Kerrod Walters. Taking up some time here as they set this play. Darren Fritz it is, who's back on just outside the 10-metre line. Gordon Talis. Talis met by a barrage of Blues jumpers. Sirenen, Elias and Bradley Clyde. Kerrod Walters fires out a beautiful pass for Alan Langer. He does the dodging, then Billy Moore. But again, the New South Wales defence, it is scrambling and making some try-saving tackles.
So Willie Kahn has waved for the kick again. He wants Langer to do that. Hasn't on the last. And second last, Darren Smith takes the tackle. Kahn looking for the football.
Talis running straight into Ben Elias. Unable to put Talis down. They get him down now. And this is the last coming up now. Kerrod Walters off for Langer. Langer through to Moore and then Meninga and now O'Neill. And this is Hancock. And Hancock again. They're denied a try. Brasher's performance has been great.
Not an easy task to take Michael Hancock front on. 4 metres out from your own line. Tim Brasher has been outstanding defensively tonight and run the football back as Lazarus drops the ball, gives Queensland a chance. Larson ankle tapped, had support, should have thrown.
Larson then, 8 metres away from the line. It's out with Langer and then put down by Adrian Vowles. Annesley rules the knock-on. So New South Wales will come up with possession from the scrum, 12 metres out from their own line. This was the knock-on for Adrian Vowles. And this young player, his first Origin match. And the first player to come right through the ranks at Gold Coast to go on and play Origin football. Comes from Charleville. Big night and a meteoric rise for him. As New South Wales halfback Rick Stewart feeds the scrum. 15 out from his own line. Nagas comes off the left wing. Solid hit on him by Billy Moore, who broke from the scrum very quickly. New South Wales continue the wrap to the right, and Brad Clyde takes the next tackle. Plenty of impact in it too. Fritz and Vowles. Stewart comes to Darren Smith and tries to beat him, but Smith is there to envelop him in the tackle. Ben Elias across for Lazarus. Lazarus then for Sirenen. Sirenen back for Elias. Pretty scrappy. Then Stewart. Now Barnhill. Now Stewart. Stewart is engaging with Darren Fritz in the back play. I don't know what happened here, but Stewart, he's about 5'6", 5'7". He's chased Darren Fritz, who's 6'5", to get a shot on him.
Well, it's not the only one going on. Ben Elias again involved in one. Ricky Stewart, ex-teammate of Darren Fritz. They both played for Canberra. No love lost there. Really, in State of Origin, you don't play faces, you play jerseys. There's Elias, and Kerrod Walters going for it on the right-hand side. Kerrod really cleaned him up. Ricky Stewart threw one from behind on Darren Fritz. I don't know what Darren did to Ricky Stewart. May have said something.
No, he just seemed to shoulder him out of the way after Ricky had unloaded the ball.
Well, the first one was the two hookers once again. Kerrod shakes his head once again. But
geez, Ricky, I think he should have another think about this.
he's out of his weight division there, isn't he? He can come up with all the smart lines, like look at the scoreboard and stuff. But
he actually had to jump 3 feet to get at him. Here it is again.
well, hang on, there's the... He's had to cover a few yards too. Fritz knew what was happening. He ducked the head.
So Annesley has had a nice introduction to the game. 85,000 people watching him here live. Millions around Australia and overseas, and it has been one of the more spiteful Origin clashes as Meninga finds the line 10 metres out from the New South Wales try line, but just 2 minutes to go now. Fritz unleashing himself at them. Kerrod Walters. Talis is with him. Jordan Talis. Taste of Origin football for him. 3 metres from the line, and a penalty goes to Queensland again. Tap taken by Kerrod Walters. Fritz winds himself up, but the Blues are there. 3 and 4 of them in the tackle. Barnhill comes out of it holding his head. Kerrod Walters, a bullet-like pass for Langer. Back for Khan. Khan is taken. Harrigan got him around the legs. Sirenen came over the top with Brasher. Kerrod Walters finds Alan Langer. Queensland looking to puncture the defence. Meninga picks it up, but a knock-on has been ruled. The big crowd goes up, but Annesley takes the joy from this try for Mal Meninga by ruling the knock-on.
Yes, Alan Langer stepping the light, fantastic. Tried to get the ball to Darren Smith, who knocked on. Mal Meninga following through, carried Lazarus over the line. A good decision from Annesley. Now only 50 seconds left on the clock. Tim Brasher takes the ball forward. Adrian Vowles has been very strong in defence since going on. Takes the tackle. Billy Moore helps Brasher to his feet. I was thinking Ricky Stewart in that confrontation with Darren Fritz. He was shadow boxing Ray in the shadow one, I think.
Who wouldn't be shadow boxing at the moment? Well, he might be, as Paul Vorton watching the Origin from in hospital. And we're thinking of you, Blue, and gets yourself ready for Lang Park. I think they're going to need you. Harrigan now playing it.
Paul who?
30 metres out from the line. Sirenen. Barnhill was there looking for the pass. Seconds in the match remaining. The crowd counts it out. 85,500 of them. An Australian record rugby league crowd at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. 14-0 to the Blues. Lazarus and McGregor the tries. Brasher the extras. Lazarus got across at the 9th minute. McGregor at the 69th. 3 from 4 for Brasher. Queensland have only been kept scoreless once before, and that was in Game 1 back in 1990 at the Sydney Football Stadium when they lost 8-0. Wally Lewis goes back now to Queensland with his team to get them ready for Origin 3, and that is going to be one mighty occasion. I mean, this has been special. This is something that you really only dream of. Phil Gould goes out, embraces Ricky Stewart, but Lang Park bursting at the seams. That too will be very special, considering that the Origin prize will be on the line that night. I haven't seen Gus Gould this excited since Penrith won the grand final.